Hi, my name's Uvinda, and thanks to that Huey Helper plugin video that I released, I managed to get a reasonable decent amount of feedback, a lot of reception for it. We hit over 1k subs, so thank you to everyone that did that. And in repayment to that, I want to show you a little guide on how to manage the mechanics at the Hueycoatl. The Hueycoatl is a reasonably easy boss that some people struggle with the mechanics of. So today, I'm going to help you understand how to manage those mechanics and up your game at the Hueycoatl. Now, technically, Hueycoatl has 4 phases, but in this video, I'm going to break them down as 2. Phase 1 consists of fighting the body, and Phase 2 consists of fighting the main boss in general, which is where most of the mechanics actually happen. Now, realistically, you do want to focus on Crush, because Hueycoatl has a +0 defense bonus towards Crush, but magic is also absolutely fine, as Hueycoatl has a 60% weakness to earth spells. If you choose to use mage, either use a Dragon Hunter wand, or just focus on increasing your magic bonus as much as possible. In this video, we'll be focusing mainly on melee, as that's probably going to be the best thing to do if you're starting out. Here is recommendations from the wiki. It focuses highly on the crush bonus, which is the weakness to Hueycoatl. If possible, you'd also want to have double hitting weapons for the tail phase, because it's small damage, and the more damage you can deal in that time frame, the quicker the fight will be. But in all honesty, if you're in a position where you can't afford this gear, or if you're an Iron Man and haven't unlocked that gear yet, just maximize your crush bonus, because that'll be the most effective thing. If you are in either of those positions though, just don't panic, maximize that crush bonus and focus on mass worlds. In mass worlds, there are going to be so many people dealing so much damage anyway, that double hit is really not going to matter. All you want to focus on is maximizing your contribution towards the fight for your drop chance. Now, in most tutorial videos like this, you'd have someone go through all the drop rates. Now, thankfully, my Huey Helper plugin just runs that through for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But on screen, I'll just show you a list of the drops that you can get if you are interested. Now, in my opinion, the items dropped from Hueycoatl is kind of Iron Man focused, but realistically, if you're here to make money, I think it makes about 2 mil an hour, so it's really not that bad. When recording the videos for this guide, I did about 3 or 4 kills in a 30-minute time frame, and in that time frame, I did about 800k to 1 mil. That's where I'm getting that 2 mil an hour from. Obviously, your hourly rate of loot is going to be completely different depending on your gear. Now, when it comes to mechanics, there's a few things. There are falling projectiles from the sky, and all you have to do is pray the respective prayer for them. There are floor-based damage, it kind of channels and then just bursts. And during the fight, Huey will slam its tail into the ground to send a shockwave from left or right. Now, during phase 1, you have to fight the body. There are 5 body pieces, each with 250 HP. The amount of damage that you contribute during this phase is what calculates the amount of loot you get. During this phase, the mechanics that you have to deal with are the falling projectiles and the floor channeling based damage. Once phase 1 is over, the tail that blocks your path up towards the top part of the body is then opened and you start phase 2. Now, during phase 2, you have the exact same mechanics from phase 1, except when Huey gets to 1250 HP, it will then shield and bring out its tail, which will send shockwaves from left to right, or vice versa. The tail has reduced damage taken, so you'll only ever deal 1s, 2s, 3s, and maybe up to 9. The objective here is just to get it down as quick as possible. That's where you'll use your double hitting weapon if you have one. Once you've dealt all of the 300 damage, the shield from Huey is removed, and then you initiate the end of the fight, which is where the mechanics get a little bit tricky. You now have to deal with every single one of the mechanics, except they happen much faster and a lot more consistently. The main thing here is just to not panic. Try and pay attention to sort of the way that they are moving, and eventually you'll learn the motions and it will just become second nature. If I had to give you a tip for this part of the fight, probably just focus on the floor and the waves. The damage falling from the sky is only maxed at 14, so you could easily eat and negotiate that nicely. Once you've kind of understood the floor mechanics, then start using the prayers. it will all come together eventually. Now lastly, there is one additional mechanic, and that is the pillars. During phase 2, you'll see there are pillars in the northwest side of the fight area. Now, by keeping these up and illuminated, you will increase your damage dealt. To do this, you just need to pray the respective prayers, i.e. protect from melee, protect from magic, and protect from range. Now during mass worlds, they are pretty unimportant. There are so many people dealing damage at once, they're just not really worth worrying about. If you are in a smaller group, then you need to equally pray to level these out, i.e. if there are 4 of you, 3 of you need to each be praying those respective prayers. Because of the way these work, they all have to be evenly spread across the team. This tends to be a little bit tricky to manage if there are an odd number of people in the group, i.e. if there's like 5. But realistically, in my opinion, it's much better for you to just focus on getting that boss down. So if you are actively praying, but the people that are in the fight with you just aren't doing it as well, I would just focus on getting your boss kill down. It may take a little bit longer, but that's much better than trying to argue with the people that you're trying to fight with. Now, if you are trying to focus on these pillars and you just much rather have a smaller team, or if you want to get that pillar lover achievement, then the one tip that I would suggest is just ask people if they want to do a trio. Because in mass worlds, you'll notice there are such a large amount of people. There are so many people that would happily jump at the chance to do a trio rather than try and fight amongst maybe 15 people. One additional kind of tip to that tip is that for the pillar lover achievement, you only actually have to kill the boss with those 3 pillars up. So if you are that person that doesn't have prayer, like me, Chunky Geeza, then just join that 3-man team to turn it into a 4. As long as those other 3 people pray for you, you will get that achievement. Now, on top of that tip, if you can see on the screen now, there are only 2 people inside the fight area. But if you look at the minimap, there's also 2 people at the gate. In this situation, the other player called Pluems has actually got 2 ults that are currently sitting in the entrance. Because they are inside the fight area and they are also praying, this also does qualify for that pillar lover achievement. So if you want to do it solo rather than actually get a team together, you just need yourself and 2 ults. So as long as you just make sure that each of your accounts is praying their respective prayers and that none of them die, you'll still get that achievement. Now, with all that information out of the way, let me show you a couple of clips so I can help you understand how these mechanics work in real time. So crossing over the gate, we start phase 1. This is where we have to kill the bodies that I mentioned. There are 5 of them. So doing it solo will take a little bit of a longer time than doing it as a mass or as a group. Pretty standard mechanics. We've just dodged the floor mechanic and there is a projectile coming at us. You just can flick it or you can put your prayer on. And this is the motion throughout the entire phase 1 fight. When fighting this body piece, it's much better to actually stand to the side. As you've just seen, I tried to dodge and I still got hit damage. Now the reason why it's better to stand from this side is because if you're doing it from above, there is actually a chance that you might click the body when trying to click the tile above you to dodge. So just do it on this side. As you can see, it's much easier. So with that final body piece down, you'll notice the tail is now retracting. If you just scroll out and click on the boss like I just did there, and then zoom back in again, your character will just automatically run straight up to Huey and start attacking. Now, during phase 2, as mentioned, you are going to have the same mechanics from phase 1 up until you get it down to 1250 HP. So once you've reduced Huey's HP down to 1250, you'll notice the animation change as the shield goes up. That's when you click on that yellow tile and then click on the tail once the wave hits the green tile, and you should successfully skip it. Now this mechanic does take a little bit of working out if it's your first turn, but it's something that becomes very easy once you understand those wave mechanics. After a certain amount of time, Huey will track the left tail and send out the right tail. All you have to do is click on the right tail once the tip of its tail reaches that yellow square as indicated on screen, and you should then successfully dodge the wave. And then it happens in reverse. The right tail retracts, the left comes out, and once the tip of that left tail hits the yellow square as indicated on screen, you click on it and then you should successfully dodge the wave. You just have to keep repeating this action until the tail is down. Once you have taken down the tail, Huey will drop its shield and it will then start the final part of the fight. This is where you then have to start dealing with every single one of the mechanics. You will start to get into the rhythm and you'll sort of understand how they work, and eventually you will relax a bit. I've labelled all of the tiles on screen so that you can follow them easily. You do not actually have to copy these tiles. I have just pushed an update to the Huey Helper plugin that will include these tiles as well as the text, all of which can be toggled on and off. So if you want the tiles and not the text, you can have that. If you want nothing, you can turn it all off. Anything you want to do in that respect is up to you. And then once you've got the boss down, the loot will just drop on the floor. If you get big bones, that will indicate you as the MVP, which means you get a 10% increase on top of the loot that you get. Now bear in mind that 10% does not apply to rare drops or the pet. And that little dialogue message just before you go down the slope, that is in reference to the Perfect Huey combat achievement. This combat achievement requires you to kill Huey 5 times without taking any avoidable damage. And just to prove you really don't need anything to do this boss other than a crush weapon, here is Chunky Geeza getting his solo kill with nothing more than his trusty Rune mace. If you've made it this far into the video and you've enjoyed the guide, then thank you so much. I've never put this much effort into a guide before and I really enjoyed making it. If you want to see more things like this, then please give us a like and a subscribe, and just again drop comments in the bottom section just to let me know what you thought. And lastly, let's not forget to shout out those chunky geezers. We've got Ben Kimber and Prifting in the chunkier geezers tier, and we also have Extreme Gnome in the geezers tier. If you want to see your name at the end of these videos and you want me to shout your name out too, then consider hitting that join button. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Here's to the next one.